In this video, we're going to talk about the properties of special triangles, particularly isosceles triangles. So hopefully you remember definition of an isosceles triangle. This is a triangle with two congruent sides and two congruent angles. All right. So here's a picture. Make sure that you know all the parts. So at the bottom we've got two base angles, and you notice the tick marks here. The base angles are congruent. And then we've got our legs. Again, notice the legs are congruent. And notice how the congruent angles are opposite the congruent sides in the triangle. Alright, so we've got our base angles, and we've got our legs, and up here at the top we've got our vertex angle, so that's up here at the top, and then we call this up here the vertex. So when we talk about the vertex of the triangle, that's this point that has an angle that's not congruent to the other two. Alright, so lots of vocabulary. Again, if you need to make yourself some cards to remember these, or find a Quizlet online, that would be a great idea. Alright, so moving on to the isosceles triangle conjecture. If a triangle is isosceles, then it has at least two congruent sides. And then if we look at the converse of that, if you recall the converse, we just flipped the hypothesis and the conclusion. So now the converse would say, if a triangle has at least two congruent sides, then it is isosceles. Alright, so that's what we've got for an isosceles triangle, and we'll look at some examples in the next video on how to use the properties. Let's move on to an equilateral triangle. So for an equilateral triangle, all sides and all angles are congruent. Alright, so for an equilateral triangle conjecture, we've got if a triangle is equilateral, then all its sides are congruent. And then the converse of this would then be, if all sides of a triangle are congruent, then it is equilateral. Alright, and if you notice in the picture here, we've got three congruent sides, but we also have three congruent angles. Okay, if a triangle is equilateral, then it is also equiangular. Equilateral triangles are also equiangular. Alright, as usual, if you have any questions about this information, make sure that you ask me or your teacher, and we'll see you in the next video.